Oh, I see what you're saying. I know, I know. And I thought I had it with me. I thought I left it home. I'm not worried about it. I had my phone. I went through it when I switched from the Rosh Hashanah book because I didn't take the time to copy the stupid things when I was
It's in process. Bruchim Habaim, welcome everyone. Good Yantif. I have a few announcements to make before we begin. I'll try to be quick because some of you have heard them multiple times now. Before we begin, take a moment to silence your cell phones to add to the sanctity of our service. I'd also like to invite you to briefly look around and locate our exits on the unlikely event that we might need to exit the building. There's an exit by the choir here. There are the exits and entrances that we entered the sanctuary, and then at the very back of the sanctuary there are 2 exits on either side of our building. I encourage you to be mindful of your body and to break your fast if your health is at all at risk or you're not feeling well. Judaism teaches us that life and health take precedence. During the afternoon Yom Kippur service, we will continue the new tradition of having a healing service amidst the service, so I encourage you to come back for that or to stay. Also, throughout the day, if you'd like to make a New Year's card or write an apology letter to somebody that you've wronged, there are some supplies on the front table. And during the break today, there will be an opportunity to offer personal prayers in front of our ark. We will have the ark open. I have some prompts, or you can pray the prayers of your innermost thoughts and heart. So that is something that you should be aware of. As we pray, if there are tunes you're unfamiliar with, we encourage you to listen, to sing along as you feel comfortable. If there are words in Hebrew you don't understand, there are translations directly below. Throughout our High Holy Days, I have been reading from a prayer book that has gender-neutral language. The intent is simply to invite in multiple images and conceptions of God, and it's a helpful reminder, of course, that every English translation is an interpretation. The readings that are added into our service are largely taken from the new Reform High Holy Day Machzor, or prayer book, that was created in 2014-2015. This year we are introducing a High Holy Day melody for the Shema, which helps set it apart and make it special. But if you're missing your Shabbat melody, maybe you could take the time during the break to come back and to pray that melody. And also, that melody is part of our Torah service as well. The front row here that says reserved is for those who have honors. So before your honor, you have instructions to come up a little bit early. So this row here that says reserved is for you to come sit in before your honor. But certainly I won't be calling you out if you don't sit there. It's all good. We're a welcoming and easygoing congregation. Thank you to so many people who have made our High Holy Days possible. Because we've said their names so many times, I'm just going to say that there are a lot of them, and I am eternally grateful for all of them, especially my cantor partner here on the bima with me, our choir director and choir, the ritual committee, Stephanie, just everyone, the security guards that are in front of our temple helping keep us safe, our president, our board, just everyone. Jeanette, who helped make announcements, will hopefully have a larger list in our bulletin coming up. But there's just so many people that make this day possible and so many details involved. So I want to let you know. Also, as this is the season of repentance, I want to say to you sincerely, to each of you, that if I have offended you in any way, intentionally or unintentionally, I apologize. I'm sorry. I hope that you will forgive me. I'm honored to be here as your rabbi, and I'm going to continue to do my best to be present for everyone, to be honest when I make mistakes, and to honor the amazing congregational family that you all have created and that all the wonderful things that have come before me. I'm humbled and honored, and it's very special for me to be able to stand here with you today. Thank you. May we all be written in the book of life for a blessing. Gomar Chatzima Tova. Bless you. Bless you, for you have sneezed or coughed, actually. Are you okay, I think is the proper. Okay. All right, so we're going to go ahead now and start our service, which I'm sure you're anxious for us to be moving along with. Our morning service begins on page 291 with Baruch Nashi. We continue on page 294. We are tenants in the house of life. Our days on earth are but a span.
Time like a river rolls on, flowing year after year,
Its passing leaves bitter memories of hours misspent. But your purpose gives meaning to our fleeting days. Your teaching guides us, and your love sustains us.
To you we pray for the knowledge and strength to live responsibly.
Deliver us from bondage to the past. Release us from the stranglehold of evil habits. Make us free to start afresh.
Let this be for us the beginning of a new season of life and health.
Liberate us from the fear of death and from the scornful laughter that mocks our labors.
Though our lives be short, let them be full. Hold our mortal days in your hands as eternal moments.
We, dust and ashes, are endowed with divinity. Compounded of clay, we live in dimensions clay cannot enter, regions where the air vibrates with your presence.
Judge us less harshly than we may judge ourselves. Judge us with mercy, O fountain of life, in whose light we see light.
We continue now on the bottom of page 297.
Asher yoshvei beitacham, ol yalelu chasalam. Ashrei am shekakalo, Ashrei am she'Adonai Eloah.
Happy are those who dwell in your house. They will sing your praise forever.
Happy the people to whom such blessing falls. Happy the people whose God is the Lord.
I will exalt you, my sovereign God. I will bless your name forever.
Every day I will bless you. I will extol your name forever.
Great is the Eternal One and worthy of praise, infinite in greatness.
One generation shall proclaim your work to the next. They shall tell of your mighty acts.
They shall consider your radiant glory.
They shall reflect on your wondrous works.
They shall speak of your awesome might and make known your greatness.
They shall tell the world of your great goodness and sing of your righteousness.
God is gracious and compassionate, endlessly patient, overflowing with love.
The Lord is good to all. His compassion shelters all his creatures.
All your works shall thank you.
Your faithful shall bless you.
They shall speak of your majestic glory and tell of your strength.
To reveal your power to the world and the glorious splendor of your kingdom.
You are sovereign to the end of time.
Your dominion endures through all generations.
You support the falling, eternal one. You raise up all who are bowed down.
The eyes of all are turned to you. You sustain them in time of need.
You open your hand to fulfill the needs of all the living.
Lord, you are just in all your ways, loving in all your deeds.
You are near to all who call upon you, to all who call upon you in truth.
He will fulfill the hope of all who revere him. He will hear their cry and help them.
You preserve those who love you, but the lawless you bring to grief. My lips shall declare the glory of God. Let all flesh praise your holy name forever and ever.
We will bless the Lord now and always. Hallelujah. V'anachnu nevarech Yah, me'ata ve'ad olam. Hallelujah.
Let every living soul bless your name, O Lord our God, and let every human being proclaim your majesty forever and ever. Through all eternity, you are God. We have no king but you. God of all ages, ruler of all creatures, Lord of all generations, all praise to you. You guide the world with steadfast love, your creatures with tender mercy. You neither slumber nor sleep. You awaken the sleeping and arouse the dormant. You give speech to the silent, freedom to the enslaved, and justice to the oppressed. To you alone we give thanks.
Though our mouths should overflow with song as the sea, our tongues with melody as the roaring waves,
our lips with praise as the heavens' wide expanse. And though our eyes would shine as the sun and the moon,
our arms extend like eagle's wings, our feet reach swiftly as deer, still we could not fully thank you, our God and God of all ages, or bless your name enough for even one of your infinite kindnesses
to our ancestors and to us.
Therefore, O God, limbs and tongue and heart and mind shall join to praise your name. Every tongue will yet affirm you, and every soul give you allegiance. As it is written, all my limbs shall say, Lord, who is like you? And David sang, Bless the Lord, O my soul, and let all that is within me bless his holy name.
We continue on the bottom of page 303 with our Chatzi Kaddish.
Yitkadar v'yitkadash Shemei Rabbah Malmad yivrach chirutei v'yamlich malchutei v'chayechon u'vyomechon u'v'chayei l'chol Beit Yisrael B'Gala u'v'zman kariv v'meru Amen Yehi Shemei Rabbah mevorach le'olam u'l'olmei olmaya yitbarach yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal Shemei dekudsham Leila Leila min kol bechata v'shirata tush bechata v'nechemata de'ameron be'alma b'imru Amen.
We continue now with our call to worship, our Baruch Hu on page 304. Please rise.
Baruch Hu et Adonai Am Mevorach
eternal, to whom our praise is due.
Praise to the Lord, to whom our praise is due.
Now and forever. We remain standing.
Lord of darkness and day, the God who opens the gates of mercy, who gives light to all who await forgiveness, be with us on this atonement day.
God of times and seasons, be with us this day.
Lord God of hope and joy, be with us this day.
God of the loving heart, be with us this day.
Be with us as we look for strength to be free, freedom to struggle against those who worship power, and power to resist all who would oppress us.
God of freedom and right, be with us this day.
O one and only God, you have made each of us unique and formed us to be united in one family of life. Be with us, Eternal One, as we seek to unite our lives with your power and your love.
We proclaim now your oneness and our own hope for unity. We acclaim your creative power in the universe and in ourselves, the law that binds world to world and heart to heart.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Shema
Hear, O Israel, one, forever and ever. Please be seated. Et Adonai Elohecha v'chol levavecha uv'chol nafshecha uv'chol meodecha v'hayu hadivarim ha'elef asher anochi misavecha hayom al levavecha v'shinanta we continue now that we have sung out our oneness with God and spoken about how God is present all around us on page 307.
In this world, waiting to be redeemed, our hearts cry out. Cannot our dearest hopes at last come true? Many are our defeats, yet how many are deliverances? After servitude to Pharaoh, we choose service to God. After exile in Babylon, we rebuild God's shrine. Yesterday's wounds, so nearly fatal, begin to heal, and Israel, still living still, plants new seeds of redemption.
The time come when all the peoples will be joined in bonds that cannot break. The nations will yet be at peace. The earth will yield good fruit. Mountains and waters will exult. Those who sowed in tears will reap in joy, and all will sing with one accord.
מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נגן בקודש, נורא תהילות עושה מלך. שירה חדשה שיבחו גאולים, לשמך שפתיים, יחד כולם הודו, והמליכו ואמרו, אדוני ימלך לעולם ועד.
Who is like you, Eternal One, among the gods that are worshipped? Who is like you, majestic in holiness, awesome in splendor, doing wonders? O Rock of Israel, come to Israel's help. Fulfill your promise of redemption for Judah and Israel. Our Redeemer is the God Most High, the Holy One of Israel. We praise you, O God, Redeemer of Israel. We continue now with our Avot V'Imachot, our Tefillah, our standing prayer. The version we will be chanting can be found in the front cover of your book. I encourage you to sing out together as we praise our individual and special relationships to our sovereign God.
Adonai sefatai tiftach ufi yagid tehilatecha. Eternal God, open my lips that my mouth may declare your glory. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor Hanara, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, Vekonei Hakol, V'zocher Hasdei Avot V'Imachot, U'mei Gula V'ivnei B'neihem, L'ma'an Shemo B'Yahava. Zochreinu L'chaim, Melech Hafetz B'chaim, V'chotveinu B'sefer HaChaim, L'malcha Elohim Chaim. Melech Ozer, U'Moshiach
continue on page 310 in our prayer books.
אתה גיבור לעם אדוני, מחייך כל עטריו להושיע, מכלכל חיים בחסד, מחייך כל ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר, מי כמוך בעל גבורות, ומי דומה לו, מלך ממית ומחיה, ומצמיח ישועה, מי כמוך בעל הרחמים, הרחמים, זוכר יצוריו לחיים ברחמים, ונאמן אתה להחיות הכל, ברוך אתה אדוני מחיי הכל.
Your might, O God, is everlasting.
Help us to use your strength for good and not for evil.
You are the source of life and blessing.
Help us to choose life for ourselves and our children.
You are the support of the fallen.
Help us to lift up the fallen.
You are the author of freedom.
Help us to set free the captive.
You are our hope in death as in life.
Help us to keep faith with those who sleep in the dust.
Your might, O God, is everlasting.
Help us to use our strength for good. Please be seated. As we prepare to come upon a difficult prayer, Unatana Tokef, we looked to page 1 in our handout for an alternative point of view, the power of this day. We read responsively. An empty page, an open book, a day of ultimate questions. What is in store for my family, and what will become of my friends? Who will have a reason to celebrate? Who will contend with grief? New love, new babies, marriages deepening or breaking apart, prosperity, struggle, reversals of fortune, illness, and health await us. Who will be missing when we gather next? Who will stand apart? Who will be estranged? And who will have joined us in enriching our community? On the edge of the unknown, we tremble. What lies ahead for all of us? An empty page, no book. Nothing is written and nothing is sealed. Flesh and blood, frail creatures, our lives are fleeting and subject to change. Yet this we possess, the strength to persist, to prevail, to comfort one another in God. Prayer, right action, a turning towards the good, these give us hope and help us bear the pain of life. We are now back in our prayer books on page 311. On Rosh Hashanah, we reflect. On Yom Kippur, we consider who shall live for the sake of others, who dying shall leave a heritage of life. Who shall burn with the fires of grief, who shall drown the waters of despair. Whose hunger shall be for the good, who shall thirst for justice and right. Whose tongue shall be a thrusting sword, whose words shall make for peace. Who shall be plagued by fear of the world, who shall strangle for lack of friends. Who shall rest at the end of the day, who lies sleepless on a bed of pain. Who shall go forth in the quest for truth. Who shall be locked in the prison of self. Who shall be serene in every storm, who shall be troubled by the passing breeze. Who shall be poor in the midst of possessions, who repentance, prayer, and charity, these return us to our God.
Forgive the past, renewed for tomorrow. May we go forth with rejoicing to the year of great goodness.
Let us proclaim the sacred power of this day. It is awesome and full of dread. For on this day your dominion is exalted, your throne established in steadfast love. There in truth you reign. In truth you are judge and arbiter, counsel and witness. You write and you seal, you record and recount. You remember deeds long forgotten. You open the book of our days, and what is written there proclaims itself, for it bears the signature of every human being.
The great shofar is sounded, the still small voice is heard. The angels, gripped by fear and trembling, declare in awe, this is the day of judgment, for even the hosts of heaven are judged, as all who dwell on earth stand arrayed before you.
As the shepherd seeks out his flock and makes the sheep pass under his staff, so do you muster and number and consider every soul, setting the bounds of every creature's life and decreeing its destiny.
Som ki por shakit umitara mi shalem umit yasar mi ani umi yashir mi ushpal umi arom uteshuva utefila utzenaka mamirinegro agzera.
On Rosh Hashanah it is written, on Yom Kippur it is sealed. How many shall pass on, how many shall come to be? Who shall live and who shall die? Who shall see ripe age and who shall not? Who shall perish by fire and who by water? Who by sword and who by beast? Who by hunger and who by thirst? Who by earthquake and who by plague? Who by strangling and who by stoning? Who shall be secure and who shall be driven? Who shall be tranquil and who shall be troubled? Who shall be poor and who shall be rich? Who shall be humbled and who exalted?
Tender judgment, severe decree. We're now at the bottom of page 314. Our origin is dust, and dust is our end. Each of us is a shattered urn, grass that must wither, a flower that will fade, a shadow moving on, a cloud passing by, a particle of dust floating on the wind, a dream soon forgotten.
But you are the King, the everlasting God.
Please rise for our Kedusha, our prayer of sanctification as we proclaim God's holiness.
Nekadesh
315. We sanctify your name on earth, even as all things, to the ends of time and space proclaim your holiness. And in the words of the prophet we say, Holy, holy, holy is the God of all being. The fullness of the whole earth is God's glory. Source of strength, sovereign God, how majestic your presence in all the earth.
Blessed is the glory of God in heaven and earth.
You alone are our God and our Creator. You are our ruler and our helper, and in your mercy you reveal yourself in the sight of all the living.
I am Adonai, your God. The Lord shall reign forever, your God, O Zion, from generation to generation.
Hallelujah. Please be seated. Vador vador nagid godlecha, l'netzach netzachim keduchatcha nagdish, v'shivchacha Elohinu mipinu lo yamush leolam va'ed. To all generations we will make known your greatness, and to all eternity proclaim your holiness. Your praise, O God, shall never depart from our lips. We can... Page 318. Baruch atah Adonai Hamelech HaKadosh. Blessed, rules in holiness.
The house of Israel is called to holiness, to a covenant with the Eternal for all time.
We are called to serve the Most High. May we rejoice in this heritage forever.
May this day add meaning to our lives. Let contrition awaken our conscience. Our common worship unite us in our love. Our memories of bondage impel us to help the oppressive.
On this day of atonement,
We pray for awareness. Let love and compassion grow among us, and goodness be our daily care.
This day may we find well-being.
Amen.
This day may we discover the eternal strength that abides among us.
Amen.
This day may we be helped to a life that is whole.
Amen. Thanks for the mitzvot which hallow our days, and pray for the wisdom to guide our lives by Torah. May the redemptive labors make us glad, our struggles for purity not fail, and our striving for good bring us joy. Blessed is the vision of holiness that exalts the house of Israel in the day of atonement. You are with us in our prayer, in our love, and our doubt, in our longing to feel your presence and to do your will. You are the still, clear voice within us. Therefore, O God, when doubt troubles us, when anxiety makes us tremble and pain clouds the mind, we look inward for the answer to our prayers. There may we find you, and there find courage and endurance. And let our worship bring us closer to one another, that all Israel and all who seek you may find new strength for your service.
Let us rejoice in the light of day, in the glory and warmth of the sun, in the reawakening of life to duty and labor.
We rejoice in the light of day.
In the earth with its hills and valleys, its widespread fields of grain, its fruit and hidden treasures.
We rejoice in the beauty of earth.
In the love of fathers and mothers who have nurtured our lives, with whose blessing we have gone forth to our own work in the world.
We rejoice in the love of parents.
In the children who bless our homes, whose eager minds and hearts are the promise of tomorrow.
We rejoice in our children.
In friends who share our sorrows and joys, in the fullness of abundant life, in the serenity of old age, and in the peace that comes at last.
We rejoice and shall rejoice forevermore. We now come to our threefold benediction, our priestly blessing, one of the highlights of any service, especially this service, on the bottom of page 321. Our God and God of all generations, bless us with this threefold benediction of the Torah. May God bless you and keep you.
Be this God's will.
May the light of God's presence shine upon you and be gracious to you.
Be this God's will.
May God bestow favor upon you and give you and grant you peace.
Be this God's will.
Amen. May this blessing continue to be a part of our lives in the coming year.
Sing shalom tova uvracha. Sing shalom. Sing shalom tova uvracha. Sing shalom. Sing shalom. Sing shalom. Sing shalom tova uvracha. 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 Sing shalom. Sing shalom. Sing shalom. Sing shalom. Sing shalom. Sing shalom. Sing shalom.
We're now going to continue with our vidui, our confession of sin on page 324. For transgressions against God, the Day of Atonement atones, but for transgressions of one human being against another, the Day of Atonement does not atone until they have made peace with one another.
I hereby forgive all who have hurt me,
all those who I have wronged, forgive and pardon me, whether I acted deliberately or inadvertently, whether by word or by deed. Please rise. We read in the English, Our God
And God of our mothers and fathers, grant that our prayers may reach you. Do not be deaf to our pleas, for we are not so arrogant and stiff-necked as to say before you, Lord our God and God of all ages,
we are perfect and have not sinned. Rather do we confess, we have gone astray, we have sinned, we have transgressed. Please be seated. The Vidui, this by the way is a reading from Mishkan HaNefesh, which I did not hand out, but is poignant nonetheless. The act of confession that we are beginning to recite represents our movement towards God. Self-disclosure precedes the seeking of forgiveness. We can picture it as a ritualized dance. First, we take small steps, the short confession called a shamnu. Then, feeling more confident, we immerse ourselves in a powerful piece of worship, the long confession, al-Chait. During these confessions, some worshipers strike their chest in rhythm to the chant, so that, like a dance, the prayer is felt physically as well as emotionally. As we continue to ponder our own confession and our own dance internally, we now have time for silent confession, for silent prayer. we continue now with our Shamnu on page 327.
Ay, 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 Ashamnu,
Ashamnu,
Bagadu,
Bagadu,
Gazalnu,
Gazalnu,
Dibarnu Dofi,
Dibarnu Dofi,
Ay, Evinu,
Evinu,
Vehirshanu,
Vehirshanu,
Zadnu,
Zanu,
Chamasnu,
Hamasnu,
Tafalnu Shaker,
Tafalnu Shaker,
Yatsnura,
Yasnura,
Kizavnu,
Izamnu,
Lotsnu,
Lasnu,
Maradnu,
Maranu,
Niatsnu,
Niasnu,
Sararnu,
Sararnu,
Avinu,
Avinu,
Pashanu,
Ashanu,
Sararnu,
Sararnu,
Kishinu Oref,
Ishinu Oref,
Rashanu,
Rashanu,
Shichatnu,
Shihadnu,
Tiavnu,
Tiavnu,
Tainu,
Tainu,
Titanu,
Titanu, Who is righteous among us to say, I have not sinned? We are arrogant, brutal, careless, destructive, egocentric, false, greedy, heartless, insolent, and joyless. Our sins are an alphabet of woe. We turn now to our chets. First, we have our failures of truth. We sin against you when we sin against ourselves. For passing judgment without knowledge of the facts. For deceiving ourselves and others with half-truths. For using the sins of others to excuse our own. For condemning in our children the faults we tolerate in ourselves. We sin against you when we sin against ourselves. For keeping the poor in the chains of poverty. For using violence to maintain our power. For waging aggressive war. For obeying criminal orders. For poisoning the air and polluting the land and the sea. We sin against you and we sin against ourselves. For confusing love with lust. For using others as a means to gratify our desires. for withholding love to control those we claim to love. For hiding from others behind an armor of mistrust. Teach us to forgive ourselves for all these sins, O forgiving God, and help us to overcome them. For all these sins, O God of mercy, forgive us, pardon us, grant us atonement. Page 330. Al chet shepatanu lefanecha birchilut. Al chet shepatanu lefanecha begilui arayot. Ve'al chet shefatanu lefanecha b'ma'achal uv mishteh. Al chet shefatanu lefanecha b'tzarut ayin. Al chet shefatanu lefanecha b'chachash uv chazav. Ve'al chet shefatanu lefanecha b'sinat chinam. Al chet shefatanu lefanecha bin tiat garon. Al chet shefatanu lefanecha be'azut metzach. Ve'al chet shefatanu lefanecha be'kalut rosh. Al chet shefatanu lefanecha bebidui peh. Al chet shefatanu lefanecha bifli lut. Ve'al chet shefatanu lefanecha beneshech uv marbit. Al chet shefatanu lefanecha ve'chapat shochad. Al chet shefatanu lefanecha be'yetzer hara. Ve'al chet shefatanu lefanecha b'ritzat raglayim lehara. Ve'al kulam elohas lichot selach lanu michol lanu kaper lanu. For all these sins, O God of mercy, forgive us, pardon us, grant us atonement. We continue on the bottom of page 334. in your love, you have been patient with this people from the time you led us out of Egypt to the present day. So in your great love, may you forgive your people now.
Vayomer Adonai, Salachti kidvarecha. Vayomer Adonai, Salachti kidvarecha. Vayomer Adonai, Salachti kidvarecha. Salachti kidvarecha.
And God said, I have pardoned in response to your plea. Who can say, I have purified my heart and I am free from sin?
There are none on earth so righteous that they never sin.
Cast away all evil you have done and get yourselves a new heart and a new spirit.
A new heart will I give you, a new spirit will be within you. I will remove the heart of stone from your flesh and give you a heart that feels.
For thus says the eternal God, I myself will search for my sheep and seek them out.
As the shepherd seeks them out, and many of the flock go astray, so will I seek out my sheep.
I will put my spirit within you and teach you to live by my laws.
For I desire love and not sacrifices, the knowledge of God rather than burnt offerings.
Wash yourselves, make yourselves clean. Remove the evil of your doings from before my eyes. Cease to do evil, learn to do good.
Seek justice, correct oppression, defend the orphan, plead for the widow.
Seek your God, the eternal one, whom you shall find if you search with all your heart and soul.
Show us your love, O Lord, and grant us your help. Shema, Shema, Koleinu, Shema, Koleinu, Adonai Eloheinu, Shema Koleinu, Shema, Shema Koleinu, Shema Koleinu, Adonai Eloheinu, Shema Koleinu.
Hear our voice, O Lord our God. Have compassion upon us, and with compassion accept our prayer. Help us to return to you, O Lord, that you truly we return. Renew our days as in the past.
Our God, God of all generations, may the sense of your
Presence never leave us. May it keep us ever faithful to your covenant. Make us responsive to your teaching, that we may walk in your ways. Fill our souls with awe and our hearts with love, that we may return to you in truth. We are your people. You are our ruler. We are your children. You are our parent. We are your possession. You are our portion. We are your flock. You are our shepherd. We are your vineyard. You are our keeper. We are your beloved, and you are our friend. We're now going to turn to our Torah service on page 338. Please rise. Avinu Malkeinu from our new Machzor Mishkan HaNefesh. When men were children, they thought of God as a father. When men were slaves, they thought of God as a master. When men were subjects, they thought of God as king. But I am a woman, not a slave, not a subject, not a child who longs for God as father or mother. I might imagine God as teacher or friend, but those images like king and master, father or mother are too small for me now. God is the force of motion and light in the universe. God is the strength of life on our planet. God is the power moving us to do good. God is a source of love springing up in us. God is far beyond what we can comprehend. We now read responsively on page 339. Avinu Malkeinu Chatanu Lefanecha.
Our Father, our King, we have sinned before you.
Avinu Malkeinu Chahazirenu Bitshuva Shlema Lefanecha.
Our Father, our King, bring us back to you in full repentance.
Avinu Malkeinu Salach Umachal Lechol Abonotenu.
Our Father, our King, forgive and pardon all our misdeeds.
Avinu Malkeinu Chamol Aleinu Ve'al Olalenu B'Tapenu.
Our Father, our King, have compassion on us and on our children.
Avinu Malkeinu Kale Dever V'Cherev Ve'Ra'av Me'aleinu.
Our Father, our King, make an end to sickness, war, and famine.
Avinu Malkeinu Kodvener V'Sefer Chayim Tovim.
Our Father, our King, inscribe us for blessing in the book of life.
Avinu Malkeinu Chadesh Aleinu Shana Tova.
Our Father, our King, let the new year be a good year for us.
Avinu Malkeinu Aseh Imanu Lema'an Shemecha.
Our Father, our King, help us to exalt your name in the world.
Avinu Malkeinu Kabel Berachamim Uvratzon Et Tefilatenu.
Our Father, our King, in your mercy, accept our prayer.
Avinu Malkeinu Chanenu Va'anenu Ki Ein Banu Ma'asim Aseh Imanu Sedaka V'Chesed V'Hoshi'enu.
Our Father, our King, be gracious and answer us, for we have little merit. Treat us generously and with kindness, and be our help.
Avinu Malkeinu, Avinu Malkeinu, Avinu Malkeinu, Vanenu Vanenu, Ki Ein Banu Ma'asim. As for me, this is my covenant with them, says the Eternal One. Let not my spirit and the words I have put in your mouth depart from you, nor from your children or their children, from this time forth, forever. Baruch Shenatan Torah, Torah. Baruch Shenatan Torah, Torah. Le'amo Yisrael b'kedushato. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad, Echad Eloheinu, Gadol Adonenu, Gadol Shemo.
Let us declare the greatness of our God and give honor to the Torah.
Amen. All right, now's the walking dangerous to give you the Torah. Are you good? It's still coming around, folks. Did everyone get a chance to interact with the Torah? The choir? Yeah, we'll bring this the Torah to the choir while you're singing. Oh, that's okay. Oh, no, it's not. Wait. This is the right one. Never say we don't try to reach everyone. Please be seated. Our Torah portion this morning is taken from Deuteronomy 29 and 30. And in it, we experience a stirring moment of communal solidarity as all Israel stands before God to make a covenantal oath that includes future generations, not just us. Reading this passage on Yom Kippur amidst our own assembly, we ponder the meaning of mitzvah and covenant, and we discover the human power to choose between blessing and curse, life and death. We are inspired and strengthened by Moses' confidence in his people, who says, "You can surely do it. No pressure." We take those words to heart as we look to our Torah reading this morning. If you're following along in your prayer book, we're on page 342. And now we will begin by first calling up Paul Weber, who was here a second ago. Okay, there he is. I was like, I don't see him. Ya'amod Perez David ben Hershel Aliyah.
Baruch hu et Adonai Hamvarach.
Baruch Adonai Hamvarach le'olam va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamvarach le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher borka banu mikol ha'amim, v'notan lanu Torah emet. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Amen. אתם ניצבים היום כולכם לפני אדוני אלוהיכם, ראשיכם שבטיכם, זקניכם ושוטריכם, כל איש ישראל, טבכם נשיכם וגרך אשר בקרב מחניך, מחוטב ביצך עד שואב מימיך.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torat emet, v'kai olam notah b'tikenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Beautiful. And now we will call up Barbara Abrams for our second aliyah. Ta'amod Rendel Esther Bad Yitzhak la'aliyah.
Baruch hu et Adonai Hamarah.
Baruch Adonai Hamarach le'olam va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamarah le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher baka banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Amen. Leobracha. Bivrit Adonai Elohecha uvalato. Asher Adonai Elohecha koret imach hayom. Leman hakimata hayom lo leam. Vehu yelecha lelohim asher diber lach וכאשר נשבע לאבותיך לאברהם ליצחק וליעקב.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torat emet v'chayei olam nata b'tokenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Now I'd like to call up Steve Sonkin for an aliyah. Ya'amod Level ben Shmuel la'aliyah.
Baruch Hu Adonai Hambarach.
Baruch Adonai Hamarach le'olam va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hambarach le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech olam. Asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim. V'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Amen. Lo it velo. Amen. ולא איתכם לבדכם, אנוכי כורת את הברית הזאת ואת ההלכה הזאת, כי את אשר ישנו פה עמנו עומד היום לפני אדוני אלוהינו, ואת אשר איננו פה עמנו היום.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Asher natan lanu Torat emet. V'hayei olam nata b'tokenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. For our next aliyah, we'd like to call up Paul Fink. Ya'amod Shal ben Yoel la'aliyah.
Baruch Hu Adonai Hamivorach.
Baruch Adonai Hamarach le'olam va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamivorach le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bacha banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Amen. כי המצווה הזאת אשר אנוכי מצווך היום לא נפלאתי ממך ולא רחוקה היא, לא בשמיים היא לאמור מייללנו אשר לנו וישמיענו אותה ונעשנה.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torat emet v'chayei olam nata b'tokenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. For our next aliyah, we would like to call up Alan Kaminsky. Ya'amod Avram Yitzhak ben Moshe la'aliyah.
Baruch Hu Adonai Hambarach.
Baruch Adonai Hambarach le'olam va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hambarach le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim v'nosan lanu es Toraso. Baruch atah Adonai, nosein haTorah.
Amen. Velo me'ever layam hi ve'mor me'yavor lanu el ever hayam ve'pikacheh lanu ve'yashmenu ota benasena ki karov elecha davar me'od beficha uvilvavecha le'asoto.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher nosan lanu Toras emes, v'chayei olam natah b'tzolkenu. Baruch atah Adonai, nosein haTorah.
Amen.
We'd now like to call up for our next Aliyah, Jay Toller. Ya'amod Yosef ben Mordechai la'Aliyah.
Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach.
Baruch Adonai HaMevorach le'olam va'ed.
Baruch Adonai HaMevorach le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim, v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Amen. Re'e natati lefanecha hayom את החיים ואת הטוב ואת המוות ואת הרע אשר אנוכי מצווך היום לאהבה את אדוני אלוהיך ללכת בדרכיו ולשמור מצוותיו וחוקותיו ומשפטיו וחיית ורבית ברכך אדוני אלוהיך בארץ אשר אתה בא שמה לרשתה.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torat emet, v'chayei olam natah b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. For our next Aliyah, we would like to call up Natalie. Ta'amod Nachuma Chaybat Leah LeMoshe LeAliyah.
Baruch Hu Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim, v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
אמן. ואם יפנה לבבך ולא תשמע, ונידחת והשתחווית לאלוהים אחרים ועבודתם. הגדתי לכם היום כי עובד עובדון לא תאריכון ימים על האדמה אשר אתה עובר את הירדן לבוא שמה לרשתה.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torat emet, v'chayei olam natah b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
And for our last Aliyah, I'd like to call up Paige. Paige Sachs. Ta'amod Penina Bat Shena LeAliyah.
Baruch Hu Adonai HaMevorach.
Baruch Adonai HaMevorach le'olam va'ed.
Baruch Adonai HaMevorach le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim, v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Amen. העדותי בכם היום את השמיים ואת הארץ, החיים והמוות נתתי לפניך, הברכה והקללה, ובחרת בחיים למען תחיה אתה וזרעך, לאהבה את אדוני אלוהיך, לשמוע בקולו ולדבקה בו, כי הוא יחייך ואורך ימיך, לשבת על האדמה אשר נשבעתי אדוני לאבותיך, לאברהם, ליצחק וליעקב, לתת להם.
ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, אשר נתן לנו תורה אמת וחיי עולם נטע בתוכנו. ברוך אתה אדוני נותן התורה.
אמן.
With our Sefer Torah in our midst, we now turn our thoughts to those in need of healing, whether physical or spiritual. And in particular, we keep the names of the following in our minds and in our souls.
And ahead of time, if I mispronounce your name, I'm very sorry. Patty Abrams, Mike Allen, Joyce and Jim Amato, Jean Bletchman, Elizabeth Brooks, Gilda Borak, Dory Bayan, Roberta Cooperman, Susanna Zweilick, Dr. Vincent Demetrius, Dr. Neal, Sharon Eckhouse, Phyllis and Stu Eisenberg, Lenny Eisler, Tom Ellsbury, Janet Falco, Dorothy Farrell, David Freed, Bob Ferguson, Tyrone Gibbons, Dorothy Gilbert, Martin Goldstein, Paul Greenfield, Luis Gutierrez, Jennifer Gonsalves, Thea Gunther, Gina Haff, Sydney Hart, Peter Haynes, Mark Harris, Denise Karp, Leif Kaufman, Michael Lakin, Cecile Bushnick, Barbara Maloney, Alyssa Marcal, Frank Michelson, Kim Lorenzo, Joan Mello, Janessa Michelson, Marvin Migdol, Roberta Miller, Eli Muller, Stephen Napolitano, Christine Newman, Hunter O'Leary, Lois Oranger, Mike Pardamone, myself, Sharon Portnoy, Jennifer Ann Riley, Dimitri Regas, Martin Rieger, Ethan Roginski, Lonnie Rosenfeld, Marlene Rosalinsky, Beth Ross, Helene Rothstein, Bernie Schwartz, Benjamin Shalhevet, Jerry Saracini, Jan Silverman, Tom Smith, Les Bergel, Jill Verbeck, Marvin Wyman, Jenna Weisberg, Allison Wexler, Barry and Cindy Willens, Esther Wilkins, Merrill Williams, Abby Zelkin, Diane Tempia, Hal Cherney, Alyssa Marcal, Molly Glassman, Siobhan Kamas, Judy Gelbert, Joanne Leopard, Peter Singer, Stella Fuentes, Matthew Zender, Joanne Lyons, Robert Moore, Rosalie Rock, Suzanne Muller, Stacy Porwick, Joel Shapiro, Linda Zaccaro, Reese Tiller, Linda Caldor, Betty Heitharf, Chuck Pegler, Lenore Cristiano, Rocky Lobozetta, Fanny Corsentino, Ann Salzman, Jeff McClary, Ella Baccarat, Ida Zulzaf, Joanne Roth, Florence Weschler, Estelle Weiss, Marilyn Guarino, Richie Fuchs, Brad Miller, Madeline Enzinger, Marsha Hockheiser, Stephen Napolitano, Joe Crispino, Linda Frasetti, Fred Myers, Margaret Barzone, Lori Genslinger, Ethel Didner, Sherry Green, Pam Green, Peggy Reimer, and Ralph Porzilli.
And certainly, if there are any other names to add to that list, I'm going to quickly go around and give you an opportunity to state those names, maybe a little quicker than usual. So just go ahead and state an extra name if you need to, please. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead. Don't raise your hands. Just say the names. Go ahead.
Harold Abrams, Anita Roman.
We keep all these names in our hearts and thoughts. Tonight we will sing the Mishabera written by Cantor Lisa Levine, which should be found on page 2 of your handout if you would like to follow along in the prayer. It also asks for a little extra healing for all of us, which I support because we could all use a little extra boost of energy, of healing for the coming year, of safety against flu or any other ailments that might come our way. We sing together our prayer for healing.
Sararif kalea vera
now prepare for our Hagbah, our Torah lifting, which can be found at the bottom of page 344. If there are folks here to help us dress the Torah, if you want to come as well, you can come. Please rise, everyone. You're doing it together. This is coming first. This is coming first.
Vezot HaTorah Asher Sam Moshe Lifnei Bnei Yisrael al pi Adonai b'yad Moshe.
Oh, no, we're not. We're going to put it over there. Please be seated. Our Haftorah this morning that we prepare to read on page 347 can be found from the book of Isaiah. It is a prophetic passage that is a later critique of the biblically prescribed observance of Yom Kippur. And from 2nd Isaiah, who both comforted and confronted his people, dejected and disoriented, the people wondered why their performance of required rituals seemed ineffective. They asked, "Why did we fast and you did?" Preaches the hollowness of routine self-affliction and fasting in the absence of a just society and in righteous acts. God's question, as posed by the prophet, is not this the fast I desire, prompts us to make our fast meaningful by sharing our bread with the hungry, by freeing the oppressed, and giving shelter to the homeless. Certainly a call to action that speaks to me in particular. We should make our rituals that count and spur us to action in the world around us. A good message for this day. We're going to continue now. I'd like to call up Stephanie and Terry to help lead us in our Haftorah service.
Praise be the eternal God, ruler of the universe. You have chosen faithful prophets to speak the words of truth. Blessed is the Eternal One for the revelation of Torah, for Moses, your servant, and Israel, your people, and for the prophets of truth and righteousness.
Amen.
God says, cry aloud, do not hold back. Let your voice resound like a shofar. Declare to my people their transgression, and to the house of Jacob their sin. Yes, they seek me daily, as though eager to learn my ways, as if they were a nation that does what is right and has not forsaken the teachings of its God. They ask me the right way, as though eager for the nearness of God. When we fast, you say, why do you pay no heed? Why, when we afflict ourselves, do you take no notice? Because on your fast day you think only of your business and oppress all your workers, because your fasting leads only to strife and discord and hitting out with cruel fist. Such a way of fasting on this day will not help you to be heard on high. Is this the fast I look for, a day of self-affliction, bowing your head like a reed and covering yourself with sackcloth and ashes? Is this what you call a fast, a day acceptable to the Lord? Is not this the fast that I look for, to unlock the shackles of injustice, to undo the fetters of bondage, to let the oppressed go free, and to break every cruel chain? Is it not to share your bread with the hungry and to bring the homeless poor into your house? When you see the naked, to clothe them, and never to hide yourself from your own kin. Then shall your light blaze forth like the dawn, and your wounds shall quickly heal. Your righteous one will walk before you. The presence of the Lord will be your rear guard. Then, when you call, the Lord will answer. When you cry, God will say, Here I am. If you remove the chains of oppression, the menacing hand, the malicious word, if you make sacrifices for the hungry and satisfy the needs of the afflicted, then shall your light shine in the darkness and your night become bright as noon. The Lord will guide you always. He will slake your thirst and drought and renew your body's strength. You shall be like a watered garden, like an unfailing spring. Your people shall rebuild the ancient ruins and lay the foundations for ages to come. You shall be called repairer of the breach, restorer of streets to dwell in. You will refrain from trampling the Sabbath, from pursuing your affairs on my holy day, if you call the Sabbath a delight and honor the Lord's holy day, if you treat it with reverence and do not look to your business or speak of it, then you can seek the favor of the Lord. I will cause you to ride upon high places of the earth, and I will feed you with the heritage of Jacob your father. This is the promise of the Lord.
Praise be the eternal God, ruler of the universe, the rock of all creation, righteous in all generations, the faithful God whose word is deed, whose every command is just and true. For the Torah, for the privilege of worship, for the prophets, and for this, the Day of Atonement, that you, our eternal God, has given us, for pardon, forgiveness, and atonement, for honor and for glory, we thank and bless you. May your name be blessed forever by every living being, for your word is true forever. Blessed is our sovereign God, whose forgiving love annuls our trespasses year after year. Ruler of the world, you hallow the house of Israel and the Day of Atonement. Amen.
Amen. We now prepare to continue with our prayers for the state of Israel and for our nation. They can be found on page 354 and 355. I'd like to invite up our readers for those prayers to come forward, and for all who are able and inspired to rise, you may do so. No.
We pray for all who hold positions of leadership and responsibility in our national life. Let your blessing rest upon them and make them responsive to your will, so that our nation may be to the world an example of justice and compassion. Deepen our love for our country and our desire to serve it. Strengthen our power of self-sacrifice for our nation's welfare. Teach us to uphold its good name by our right conduct. Call us to see clearly that the well-being of our nation is in the hands of all its citizens. Imbue us with zeal for the cause of liberty in our own land and in all lands, and help us always to keep our homes safe from affliction, strife, and war. Amen.
We pray for the land of Israel and its people. May its borders know peace, its inhabitants tranquility. And may the bonds of faith and fate which unite the Jews of all lands be a source of strength to Israel and to us all. God of all lands and ages, answer our constant prayer with a Zion once more aglow with light, and for us and for all the world, and let us say, Amen.
Amen. It's a good amen.
Avinu, Avinu, Shema Shamayim, Zur Yisrael Golo. Avinu, Avinu, Shema Shamayim.
prepare to return our Torah scroll to the ark on page 356. This is a covenant I will make in the house of Israel in days to come. I will put my Torah within them and engrave it on our hearts and on their hearts. I will be their God, and they shall be my people. No longer shall anyone need to teach a neighbor to know the Eternal One, for they shall all know me, young and old. Do not forsake it. It is a tree of life to those who hold it fast, and to all who cling to it find happiness. Its ways are ways of pleasantness, and all its paths are peace.
It's Ha'ilim, Lemachazikima, V'tol Mechera, Meushar, Deracheha, Darchei Noam, V'chol Netivoteha, Shalom, Hashivenu Adonai Elecha v'nashuva Chodesh, Chodesh Yameinu, Chodesh Yameinu Kekedem.
Please be seated. Hayom, today. But yesterday, if someone had told me that I was going to be a rabbi when I was in high school, I might have laughed. Not because I didn't admire rabbis or think that it was a profession of value, it was rather because I didn't believe in a tangible God at the time. And so I thought to myself, how can I stand up in front of people and proclaim that we will be praising God on page 245 of the prayer book if I myself was not convinced that God existed? What my teenage self did not know is that question looks like is quintessentially what God looks like is quintessentially a Jewish activity. Israel means to struggle with God. In addition, our understanding of God evolves and fluctuates as we grow and change. My conception of God first started to transform during a trip to Israel between my junior and senior years of high school. I remember walking up to the Western Wall and touching it and looking up. At that moment, I had an overwhelming sense of connection and emotion. I felt a surge of sadness, as if the past and all the people who stood there before me cried out all at once. That day, I started to think maybe there was something out there greater and more powerful, unknowable, and present. And as I continued to learn more about Judaism, and it became more central to my life, my understanding of God evolved as well. But with more understanding comes more questioning. In the same way that the more you learn, the more you realize that you don't know. The theology of the High Holy Days in particular brought forth some of my most challenging queries. How do you justify your belief in a God when you read passages and prayers like Unatana Tokef, which states that God will determine who shall perish by water and who by fire? The Adonai of Yom Kippur, especially in this prayer, represents God as a grand judge sitting with a book discerning our fate one person at a time, looming over us with angry eyes. Based on our past deed, this God decides if we will live or die and how we might meet our end. This God is terrifying, distant, and unforgiving. But this is just one interpretation. Luckily, Judaism is full of commentaries, contradictory interpretations, and creative storytelling to allow for countless explanations. This is why I love, perhaps, to ask people to describe the God that they believe in. A simple prompt elicits several additional questions and in-depth conversations. Does God exist? If so, how does God make you feel? Does God have a physical form? If so, what does God look like? The best part is that each answer is different, unique, and beautiful. And each answer tells a story about the responder's core values and beliefs. I'd love to stand here and ask each of you to describe God and listen to all of the amazing, varied responses. And in addition to that taking too long and you wanting to move on with the day, sadly, there would be possibly some potentially challenging conversations. So maybe it's best to wait for an adult education class or a one-on-one meeting. These conversations can be tough because we often have deep feelings, which makes it hard to consider alternative points of view. So today, I'd like to explore some unusual perspectives. I raise these voices because they open us up to the possibility of seeing the God of Yom Kippur in a new light and will hopefully inspire a reaction, whether you agree or disagree, which, by the way, is very Jewish. This has the potential to strengthen or further define our current image of the divine, and so I believe and stand firm that it is a worthy pursuit. The first interpretation comes from a sermon written by Rabbi Margaret Winnig, a famous sermon in which she wrote, "God is a woman, and she is growing older. She moves more slowly now. She cannot stand erect. Her face is lined. Her voice is scratchy. Sometimes she has to strain to hear. God is a woman, and she is growing older, yet she remembers everything. Today, God sits down at her kitchen table and opens the book of memories and begins turning the pages, and God remembers. As she turns each page, she smiles. She marvels at our accomplishments, the music we have written, the gardens we have planted, the stories we have told, the ideas we have spun. They can now fly faster than the winds that I sent, she says to herself. And they can sail across the waters which I gathered into seas. They even visit the moon, which I set in the sky, but they rarely visit me. Then there are pages she would rather skip, things that she wishes she could forget. She remembers the dreams she had of us, dreams we never fulfilled. She remembers the names, so many names inscribed in the book, names of all the children she had lost through war and famine, earthquake and accident, disease and suicide. And God remembers the many times she sat by a bedside weeping, that she could not halt the process that she herself set in motion. On Yom Kippur, God lights candles, one for each of her children, millions of candles lighting up the night, making it bright as day. God stays awake all night, turning the pages of her book. When we visit, God might say, "So tell me, how are you?" Now we are afraid to open our mouths and tell her everything she already knows, whom we love, where we hurt, what we have lost or broken, what we wanted to be when we grew up. But soon we find ourselves opening up with an outpouring of emotion. I'm sorry that's all right. I forgive you. I didn't mean to. I know that, too. I do. We look away. I never felt I could live up to your expectations. I always believed you could do anything, she answers. What about your future, she asks. What do we not want to face? God hears our reluctance and she understands. We are growing older as God is growing older. How much like her have we become? God holds our face in her two hands and whispers, "Do not be afraid. I will be faithful to the promise I made to you when we were young. I will be with you. I will hold you. When you are gray-headed, I will still hold you. I gave birth to you. I carried you. I will still hold you. Grow old along with me." I love this image of God. I can imagine walking up to the table and seeing a faint smile and a motion to sit down at the table. This God is approachable, kind and inviting, knowing and wise. This God has been present at my side forever, misses me when I am not there, and feels for all of her children. But what I love most about this image is that it captures a spark of creativity, one that is present in so much of our tradition and our commentaries and our storytelling, so much of what makes us us. And this interpretation rewrites the book of life to become a scrapbook of memories and images that we pore over together. This God reminds me to return to my best self, perhaps with a little guilt, but not under the threat of punishment. Then there is also the image of God as a parent, like the God of Avinu Malkeinu, our parent and our sovereign, whom we ask for blessing and security. This is a poem adapted by Rabbi Rachel Barenblatt, conquering this particular image and understanding of God. When the doctor brought me through narrow places, God was in a dream. Tucked behind God's close eyes, chanting silently, I could hear a melodic tune that rocked me to sleep. Together we opened up in sweet surrender. I was tucked in and wrapped in a soft cloth, a shelter of peace. Before we left the hospital, God wept. Didn't they know that God had no idea what to do with me? New word clothes loomed vast and ill-fitting. I wanted to latch on, but I couldn't without help. God tried to comfort me, but I couldn't stop crying. I was hungry for warmth. I felt alone and detached. God and I tried to communicate. I wailed out, and God seemed to say, "It's okay. I will do my best to meet your needs, even if I don't understand your language." Some nights, God would rest and hand me off to another to rock me and tend to my needs. But I always knew that God preferred me to stay close. I always knew God was my rock and my comfort, my companion. And God was so open to all who I was and am. But then I grew. I became more independent. I questioned and rebelled. I yelled out in defiance. I I made bad choices. God continued to try to bring me back into an embrace, to guide me, to teach me the ways of the world, but I thought I knew better. Today on Yom Kippur, God sits patient and a little hurt, sad, and longing. And I know that when I am ready, God will welcome me back with open arms and listen to my innermost worries and challenges. God will tell me it's going to be okay and look deep into my soul and say, you are the joy I never knew I didn't have. You are forever inscribed in my memory and my very being. And that's God calling right now. Who knew? Apparently, there's some interpretations from on high that want to weigh in. What I love about this interpretation is that it hits on the notion that we ebb and flow in our connection with God, that we seek protection, warmth, and comfort, certainly themes that apply to parenthood. Each of these interpretations is a variation on a traditional prayer, the God of Unatana Tokef and the God of Avinu Malkeinu. And there is Jewish precedent to support these alternative voices. Within the wealth of Jewish texts and traditions we have created over time, there are both masculine and feminine names and aspects of God, singular and plural forms of God's name, anthropomorphic images, metaphorical descriptions, and as always, we are constantly adding new interpretations and commentaries to match our evolving ideas and perspectives. Through it all, we hope to find our God. And on this day, we not only pray to our God, but we also atone to the divine for our past mistakes. Understanding what God we are asking to forgive us is essential. Whether God is male or female, both or beyond, whether our God is kind or judgmental, answers our prayers or remains silent, whether our God exists or doesn't, and whether our God is approachable or all-knowing, adds a dimension of connection and depth to each word that we utter on this day. How can we phrase our apology if we don't know before whom we stand? Each year, I uncovered new questions about God, and each year I'm delighted that when I revisit the eternal described in these prayers, I find a fresh possibility to consider. I love that I still wrestle with my understanding of God, and sometimes I wish I could go back and tell my teenage self that this is truly what it means to be Jewish and a rabbi, and that I continue to question, because that is part of what it means to be Jewish and a human being engaged in growth. May we be inspired to dig deep and crack open the possibility of a continually evolving and nuanced God, one who speaks to us and who moves us to be our best selves. And may we invite multiple perspectives of God into our discourse, our congregation, and in our worship, and all that we say and do. Ken Yehi Ratzon, may this be God's will. Gemar Chatima Tova, may our God inscribe us in the book of life for a blessing in the coming year. Amen. This concludes our morning service. There isn't really a blessing or a prayer because it's as if our service is one continuing, long, everlasting service. But I also am very well aware that many of you will probably leave at this moment, and that is okay. I'd like to also just remind you that we will be opening our ARC for personal prayers, and I'll put up some supplemental prompts for you that would like to engage in that, and that for those that would like to stay and create cards of New Year's greetings or apologies to friends or family, that will be an option as well. And that we will continue with our family service whenever it is scheduled to be held right here. 1:15, sorry. 1:15 in our sanctuary. And I'm, again, just delighted to have you here. And I hope that your fast is easy and that your prayers are heard and answered in the coming year. Thank you so much for being here.
here to start talking. Change for lunch.
That's fine.
Yeah, I do it every year.
There you go.
I'm getting old.
Just by the up and down of it, the up and down.
You got it? I don't. You gotta understand, I was the little kid that would sit on the phone and poop in here. And now Karen's gonna come back with the scissor. Yeah, right? Thank you, Karen, but we got it.
You got it, good. We didn't have to rip it.
to use them, you don't have to. I'm going to put them up here for anybody who has any desire. But certainly this is a potentially profound, sacred moment.
sure. They're
From
beautiful.
Czechoslovakia, from Poland.
Look at this breastplate. It's magnificent.
Yeah, that one's antique. The others are modern, but that one up there is the one with the history on that. And I don't know which Torah, whether they have a specific Torah that I forgot the rabbi must have said that they use all the time. You know, I don't know if they read from maybe some of the others are older.
Some menorahs.
Yeah. Silver. But it is interesting.
So that's, sitting thinking, what did the rabbi say? The name of all the concentration camps. Now on seeing it up close, I guess I'll remember it more.
Right.
He introduced this a few years ago.
Now, I guess this is one of the Holocaust Torahs, I would imagine.
Which one do you point at?
Oh wait, the one in the showcase is the Holocaust Torah up front. That's one of them. And then there's one here. There's one in the case here, and you saw the one up front. Yes?
Probably, but I gotta think what I'm looking at. Some of these names I don't even know. Middle?
I never heard
Don't know that.
I never Auschwitz, Treblinka, Birkenau, I heard of Dachau. I never heard of those.
You just don't appreciate this opportunity. I don't think I've been in front of the archive. I don't think so. Maybe. But to stand here?
With that breastplate, that's really you have to ask the rabbi or rabbi, which one is, Holocaust Torah. Why do they read, or which ones do they read from? Do they alternate, or they read from the same one all the time?
Yeah. And rolling it back to the beginning? Yeah, I want to see them all to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Rabbi Mills would always look in the Torah and always prayed it, before the service started. She does, I guess she might do it with different
Different. Just to stand here and look up. It's different. Somehow a different point of view. So I'm not sure. This is the rabbi's meditation. I'm surprised to listen to this lady called Savannah in Charleston.